morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Well, I could start off all negative and whatnot, and I could be all in my feelings, but did y'all see the week that I had last week? Did y'all see the week I had last week? Man, it was a thrill of a lifetime to be at the CBC conference, to be able to meet the people that I read about and study about and have learned about, and all the things that they are doing for Americans all over the country. Black people, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Black people in all of our excellence, descending on Washington as elected officials and candidates and consultants and all the things that matter to getting more and more Black folk elected to office around the country. I mean, some of the spaces that I got to be in, first of all, I got to give a shout out to my CEO at ActBlue, Regina Wallace-Jones. Had I not been staffing her, I would not have been able to be in the spaces that we were in. And she knew enough people. Was like, well, do you want to go meet them? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to turn that down. Yes, please take me to meet Simone Sanders Townsend. That would be great. Please take me to Secretary Fudge's reception. And shout out to all the Indianapolis folk, Lacey Johnson and all the crew from Indianapolis that were hosting Secretary Fudge's reception. I mean, but y'all, you know, I talk about, you know, I go to D.C. so I can get recharged, so I can come back to Indiana and do all the things that I need to do. I'm going to get to go to D.C. twice this year. Once for Black people, next time for my rainbow people. Yes, I'll be in later on this year for victory. But being in these spaces where people who are committed and have committed their lives to improving the lives of their fellow humanity has been awesome. History makers, I got to kick it with. History makers at all levels. Our party leader, got to meet Jamie Harrison and have like this amazing, amazing conversation with Jamie Harrison. I'm telling y'all, if you ever get a chance to go, whether you're a Black person or an ally, go, connect, kick it. Shout out to my congressman and everybody in his office for making sure that Indiana's on. When I got there, I knew where to go. I knew where to hang out. They made sure I had tickets to the hottest hip hop event. I mean, I'm still on a natural high. My feet have not touched the ground from my wonderful, wonderful first experience at the Congressional Black Caucus Convention. I hope everybody that hears my voice, whether you live in Indiana, Illinois, Mississippi, California, if you ever dreamed of, and you are a political junkie like me, and you see the work that these folks are doing around the country, that you get to be in those spaces and ask those questions and bend the ear of the people who are shaping democracy in America. I'm telling you, I tried to capture as many selfies as I could. Don't be mad. I mean, I'm a groupie. What can I say? I'm a groupie. I wanted all the selfies, but also I hope it inspires you. Right? If you can see that the loudest, gayest, blackest Democrat from Indiana can be rubbing elbows with the most powerful and influential people around our country, then you can do it too. Everybody has an opportunity to do what they do the way they do it. And that's all I want to do is just hang out and just share with y'all, like, so that y'all are inspired to do what you love. Inspire you to be in the spaces that you want to be in. And do you know how I got there? I literally sent a Slack to my CEO and I was like, yo, I know you want a fun-loving, somewhat talkative and loud, maybe slightly obnoxious associate to come hang out with you. And she said, yeah. I knew all she could say was no, but I advocated for myself. Because this was something that I wanted to do. And she said, yeah. And it turned out to be one of the most amazing, life-changing experiences of my entire life. And I hope that each and every one of you has the opportunity to experience what brings you ultimate joy as well. So yeah, I'm sharing a little pics. I sure am. Because I'm proud of the time I got to spend with these people. And I just want to share it with y'all. I was super stoked and had an amazing time. But time to get back down to business. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports, when the U.S. Senate last week voted to confirm the nation's newest, highest-ranking military officer, Senator Mike Braun of Indiana wasn't among Air Force General Charles Q. Brown Jr.'s supporters. Instead, he was one of 11 votes against, at odds with Indiana State Senior Senator Todd Young and most of the rest of the chamber. As chairman of the Joint Chief of Staffs, a body composed of U.S.'s most senior military leaders, Brown will be the president's principal military advisor. He replaces Army General Mark Milley. Braun said he disagreed with Brown's policy priorities. He said we have to prioritize effectiveness over ideology in our military. Hold on, y'all, I need a drink. Brown, a career fighter pilot, joined the Air Force. Excuse me. Brown joined the Air Force in 1984. He has over 3,000 hours. He's been in the military since 1984. But because this guy, this Air Force guy, is awake and alive and thinking, Senator Braun doesn't want him. The reason why I even tell this story today is because Senator Braun is running to be governor of Indiana. So if he doesn't want woke ideology in the military, you know he's not going to want woke ideology in Indiana. Now, where have we seen this before? Huh? Florida. We've seen this. This is Mike Braun, y'all. This is the guy that wants to lead our state. He wants y'all to have y'all's head in the sand. He don't want you to be awake because he's anti-woke. So the opposite of woke is sleep. Trust me, he's going to come after the imaginary CRT. He's going to try to erase LGBTQ plus folk, black history, and all the other things. He's telling you that by his votes. He's displaying who he is by his votes. And that's how he's going to run Indiana. I don't know about you, but I'm a little worried. I'm worried that he could be our next governor because he doesn't believe that every citizen has a right to exist and every view has a right to exist. Only his views, only his ideology. Now, mind you, you got another clown in Tuberville holding up all the votes, stunting military's readiness because he doesn't believe that a woman should have a right to choose what happens to her body. He doesn't believe in body autonomy. So they were doing one-off votes, one at a time. And this guy is saying, well, I don't believe in his policy, so I don't want him to be the Joint Chief. Doesn't matter that he's been in the military since 1984. Doesn't matter he's rose up to the ranks, has all the hours flying, has done all the work, and is well qualified for the job. He's qualified for the job. But because his ideas differ, not that he's not qualified, but because his ideas are different than Senator Braun, he voted against him. Remember that, y'all, when you vote next year and you start hearing these clowns talk about what's important in Indiana. And it's now, we only 2 weeks away from early voting. I think it'll be time for me to start going in on one Jefferson Shreve. Indianapolis mayoral race is the most prominent race, municipal race in the state because it is the largest city and it has the most consequential implications for the state if the wrong person is leading Indianapolis. And here's my first point, y'all. And I'm gonna have different points each week. Do you think at this point Republicans they know how to like think for themselves yet? Do you think Republicans in Indiana specifically will go against the grain of the Republican Party? They're literally running an impeachment hearing right now with no evidence. No evidence. If Jefferson Shreve gets a hold of Indianapolis, which overwhelmingly voted 70% for Joe Hogsett 4 years ago, and gets a chance to get his tentacles in our city, do you not think it's going to be detrimental to our city? We do not want what's happening in the State House to happen to Indianapolis. So guys, pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm going to give you a few more nuggets as the weeks go on to tell you why I think you should not vote for Jefferson Shreve. But in the meantime, y'all, keep your eyes and ears open and stay woke. Don't go to sleep. Don't let these clowns make you feel like you have to be asleep in the world so they can pull the wool over your eyes. Understand the issues. Understand what matters. Because these clowns will gaslight you into submission. All right, that's my rant. Now it's time to hear from my favorite sponsor, my only sponsor, Bohm's Unique Boutique. Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code DEMOCRAT. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com. All right. Thank you, Bohm's Unique Boutique, for being a sponsor all season. I really do appreciate y'all. Hit them up. But of course, guys, we're getting close to the deadline. Are you a down ballot candidate who does not have any digital content and you would like to have a nice video shot? Please reach out to me. I have exactly what you need. Scan the QR code, get in touch with me, and I promise you, I will hook you up at a very reasonable rate because I want to see you win. But you got to get your message out. All right? So hit me up, Black Pro Studios. I am here for you. But more importantly, y'all, I get excited when I see the people in our party, I just know, like, this is America. This is Indiana. The people from all over Indiana, small towns, big towns, rural towns, suburban towns, people from all walks of life run for office in our party. It is not homogenous. We love a kaleidoscope of humanity to run for office. And today is Mayor's Day. I've been talking to a lot of council folk, but today is Mayor's Day. I'm excited about it because nothing is more important than who is the leader calling the shots as the executive of your cities and towns. First up, y'all know how excited I am whenever I see a black woman on the ballot. Now let's get it real. Y'all may not feel no kind of way about it, but I do. Because I know we are well underrepresented at all levels of government. Running to be the mayor of Peru, y'all give it up for Stephanie Graf. Stephanie, welcome to the show. Say hi to the people. Yeah, say hi to the people.
Hey, everyone. Hello, Indiana's own Dana Black. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Me and my team and my people. Shout out to Peru. I see you.
I love it. I love it. And don't get it twisted. It's not just black around here. You know I love all my rainbow warriors. Y'all give it up. Running for the mayor of Greenfield, Nate Anderson. Nate, welcome to the show.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for having me, Dana. It's great to be here.
I love it. So, guys, you know what? Both of y'all will make history if you win your election. I'm going to let ladies go first. Stephanie, what would it mean to make history in Peru becoming the mayor of that beautiful city?
Oh, it's a legacy moment for me. I think that for anyone who grows up in a small town and being a person of a certain age,
come on,
and growing up in a small community in Indiana in the 70s, this is truly a moment to seize. We see more people moving of minority descent, moving to small towns in Indiana. And when we talk about red, it's not red, it's purple, because they are people and we're proud. And to see me, I have my white brothers and sisters, my Native American and Indigenous brothers and sisters, and Everyone is saying, yes, yes, yes. And they're allowing education, experience, and knowledge to oversee everything else. I'm in a moment right now.
I love it. I love the way you express it. I'm right there with you, especially since I'm a woman of a certain age too. I'm right there with you. Nate, talk about making history, bro.
I never really looked at it like that, to be honest with you. Because this race isn't about me, and we don't do this for ourselves or to make history. This is about our community, right? This is about making positive, impactful change and being the voice of the people. And that's what's missing. I'm a millennial, I don't know the youngest mayor that has ever ran and won here in Greenfield. But we're missing that perspective. And what we need out here is someone who understands technology, someone who understands that we need to navigate this world where it's inclusive and equitable, and folks from all walks of life are accepted, and their perspectives matter. We need to get back to where having a healthy debate about policy is completely okay, because that's what makes our country great. And we can disagree on policy. That's totally fine, but that's where that perspective, that civil discourse, that's where we need to get back to.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I will also say, bro, representation matters.
It does. It does, 100%. It really does. And I know my own personal struggles, of coming out. I served in the military. Don't ask, don't tell, was a part of that policy. So I couldn't bring a significant other, to family day events or even speak about it. Right? That's the whole thing. Don't ask, don't tell.
Yep.
And I remember even having, I was dating a guy at the time, and I had a picture of us on my desk at work. And everybody thought he was my brother. It was great.
I love it. Faking it out. And that's the thing. You don't have to hide yourself. You don't have to hide yourself. You can just be out and be yourself. And you know what? Nothing, love is love. And there's nothing greater than love. And the idea that you shouldn't be able to, show the world who you love, and it's somehow shoving it in people's faces. Every time I see a pregnant woman, wouldn't that be shoving it in my face? Oh, but that's okay. You see what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong. I love seeing pregnant women. That's not my point. My point is you love who you love, and let's just put it out there like that. And let's just be about, improving communities. And one of the things I will always say, it doesn't matter if you're black or you're gay. When you win your election, you're not the mayor of gay people or the mayor of black people. You're the mayor of all people. You just bring in a different perspective. All right, Nate, since you dove into it, we're going to start with you. Tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm Nate Anderson, and grew up on the southeast side of Indianapolis. My background heavy is in military. I've been in the military for almost 18 years now, almost 10 of which have been active duty. I'm a combat vet, deployed overseas to Iraq. I spent time in Gitmo and kind of little bits of missions across the United States. Still serve in the Guard. I'm a police officer. I work for a school district as a school resource officer now.
Wow.
And, at one point I worked out at the Hoosier Youth Challenge Academy. And I don't know if, some folks know about it, some folks don't, but it's a quasi-military academy for at-risk youth, these kids who are high school age, who the traditional school system just doesn't work for them. And they can come out to the Hoosier Challenge Academy and get some discipline, structure, and go to school while learning a trade or doing credit recovery, getting college credits. Is a real cool program. But my passion was kind of mixed with law enforcement and working with kids. And so that's how I came to working full time as a school resource officer.
Okay. So I love that school and being school resource, working as being a school resource officer. I have lots of questions because,
come on.
We are living in an incredibly violent space right now where, especially in Indiana, you don't even have to have a permit to go pick up a gun. Yeah. And one of the things that's happening this year that's taking effect is that school systems can now arm teachers. Tell me how you, I worry about it because one, teachers are already overworked and overburdened and underpaid. And now we've asked them to take on one more role, and that's be security guard as well. And someone who's in these places as a resource officer, talk about what you see and whether or not this is actually because you may have a different perspective than me. Is it a good thing Or what would you rather see? What would you rather offer up as an alternative to arming teachers?
Sure. There's several factors that are bleeding into that, that has even made that an option. And I think we need to recognize that off the top. So having this carry permits being basically abolished, now it's constitutional carry in the state of Indiana, we've seen an incredible uptick in gun violence. We've seen an uptick in juvenile arrests involving possession of firearms. I dealt with an incident today that was connected to a situation from over the summer that was juveniles with firearms. And so that's a problem because you can't purchase a firearm in Indiana, a pistol, under the age of 21. However, you can possess a pistol at 18 years old. It can be gifted to you. So that's worrisome because that population is obviously also in our schools. Now, I'm not against firearms. What I would like is some education, no difference from hunter education, right? Why do we have hunter's education? Well, hunter ed is designed because what we used to get taught from our relatives when we go out and hunt, weapon awareness, muzzle awareness, gun safety, all that stuff. It's just not being taught anymore like we used to. So there needs to be an education piece, and there needs to be a little bit of accountability and whatnot. And that's one of the reasons I want to start a citizens academy out here in Greenfield, where people can come. We're going to call it, responsible gun ownership class. About free gun locks. I want them to understand the laws and liabilities, where you can carry, where you can't carry. What does it look like to actually safely store your weapon? Because a lot of guns are being stolen out of cars, being left unattended. Locking those up in the glove box is an easy solution. Locking them up in the trunk is an easy solution as well. But also I want to talk about those folks who are having mental crisis and suicide prevention, having those type of educational points made during that point of instruction. Now, the arming the teachers, these are educators, and our police department. We've had this conversation between my peers, and we just don't agree with it. When folks are stressed, they lose their dexterity. A lot of things happen. Their fight or flight kicks in. A lot of natural biological things are taking place. As police officers, we go to training every year, and we consistently build upon our training, and those stress factors are tested. And we consistently have a significant amount more training than what is required of those educators that are chosen to go through a qualification course. And it could be very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Also, it's hard as a first responder if I'm going in to a scene, a critical incident. And if you can just imagine horror, because that's what it is, because you're going to a school where kids are possibly being murdered. If I see an adult or someone with a gun that's not wearing a uniform, I'm going to shoot them.
I hadn't even thought of it like that.
Right. So it is, because we're not saying drive, freeze, police. We're not drop the gun. No, you've already created and have an act of violence where you're actively hurting people, killing people. We're not saying drop the gun. It's because we're way past. We are way past that. So we call it blue on blue. And there's actually a lot of studies out there, even officers in fully marked uniforms are being shot by responding officers as well. That's always risk, and that's a risk that you can assist, basically train to. But man, it is scary stuff to arm those educators and give them very minimal amount of training. And of course, you have the blue on blue. There's so many other factors that tie into that.
Yeah. That was probably the most thorough answer that I've actually gotten. And I believe it's because you're a resource officer and the way that you process and your military experience, your police experience. No one's ever mentioned, I've never heard anyone say it, that as police officers, you see an adult with a gun in a school, you're going to shoot first, ask questions later. Like nobody's ever said that. And so basically what you're saying is not only would arming teachers could potentially be harmful to children, it could literally be harmful to the teacher.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The officers, I've done training events that that has covered this blue on blue stuff like that I was talking about, where officers in the heat of the moment, they're engaging in a critical incident, accidentally, unintentionally shoot another officer, and it's because they see a gun, and it's a part of this human biological process that's taking place. And again, you can reduce that through many hours of intense training.
But that's not what our teachers are getting.
Are not going to get that.
No,
yeah, they're not
no.
going to get it because you're looking at factors like what's their contract say, because they're part of they're part of their union, right? So I know that with our school district, 9 o'clock at the elementary schools, that's when teachers will open the door because that's when their time starts. That's what their contract says, right? Right at the end of the day, they're closing their doors. That's it. All right, contract says I'm done for the day. See you, bye. And so you have those factors too, like when you bring these folks in, how do you compensate them? What does that piece look like? It is just best to have your school, your school, there's grants out there that are matching grants where you can hire a police officer and get them certified, tier 1 certification. That means they go through the ALEA program, Law Enforcement Academy. They get fully qualified, fully trained, and then they're mandated to have at least a minimum of 24 hours of additional training to include firearm training every year. On top of being a certified school resource officer, has additional training.
Yeah, but I still struggle with having, even depending on the school district, I would even struggle with having police officers because of the relationships in certain communities. So I don't know.
Yeah. There's like I mentioned, there's a lot of factors that play into it.
Yep.
And I will tell you that the police department needs to reflect the community it serves.
Say that again. I was saying that at the Lawrence mayor. We're not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so it does, because you need to hire from that demographic because, I don't know what it's like to be Hispanic. I don't know what it's like to, even though I'm married, proudly married to a Mexican immigrant, my husband, Marco.
Which I love, and I can't wait to spend some more time with him.
Yeah. So, but he's allowed me to see a lot more of his culture. I still am missing quite a bit of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because unless you walk in those shoes, you can read about it, empathize, and understand, but you still really just don't know. Let me get to Miss Stephanie here. Stephanie, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
Okay. Well, I'm Stephanie. I think that public servitude has been with me ever since I was born. But getting to it, the little town that I'm in, Peru, is a beautiful place. I am honored to be here in this position now, proving that I'm worthy of being the mayor. I'm even as bold as to say I'm the only qualified person in the race right now.
Claim
it. I said that.
Claim it.
But I am a Peru high school graduate. After high school, I did like most young people. I couldn't wait to get out of here. So I went to the United States Army. I am a retiree, disabled veteran, 18 years service. I went to work for the state of Indiana. Most people who work in the government at the county and city, municipal, and state levels know there's not a lot of money in state employment. And one day I got an audit from a federal inspector, and he said, "You are really good." He said, "Do you know if you go to work for the federal government, you will triple your salary overnight?" I couldn't wait to leave. And so I started working for the federal government. And I left Washington, D.C., which was my last post in October of 2020 during COVID, was allowed to come home and work in Peru, and made the choice to retire because my niece's mother had passed away, COVID-related complications, lupus. So here I was in Peru, and I was retired, and I was going to have an opportunity to sip mimosas and have a great life. And I wasn't through serving people. So I founded a business here, Garnet Killian, where we do all the things that they can't find in a small town: notary, copying, scanning, faxing. I
Faxing?
am a
You're not faxing no more, are y'all?
Well, we are faxing, honey. Look, I'm still getting checks for donations. So,
We
but
fixing that at Act Blue. We fixing that.
okay, come with us. And so then I am a certified grants writer. We need grants. So I was a grant management specialist in my last federal position, and a certifying officer. I've also am recognized in contracts as well. So I thought this is really great. I was doing a lot of this in the business, but we needed a nonprofit. You have the demographics in small towns are changing so drastically that when you have somebody where English is the second language, or you have somebody who has had to flight from Ukraine or from somewhere else where they were in danger, and they're in a small community now. International food, where do I get that from? Who can speak with me if I want to fill out immigration paperwork? What do I do if I did not understand the law and I mistaked it? There are so many different things. And so I have a nonprofit called Lily's House.
Okay.
And what we do is we provide support, we provide resources, information, fact-finding, assistance in the courtrooms to individuals who are multiracial, multicultural. We help out families who have opened their hearts and love to minority children, and they are non-minority, and they don't understand some of the cultural essences. In small towns in Peru, for example, we don't have a barber or beautician who stands out and says, yes, I do minority hair.
Right.
And so there are all these little nuances. And so we found a niche with the nonprofit that was very important. So it's very satisfying to me. But I also went to every city council meeting from the time I moved home.
Okay.
And as I was going to the city council meetings, I'm a union. I've been a union person representing people moving up through the national level for the last 20 years. And when I hear, well, that's the way we've always done it, it went right up my spine. And I noticed that Robert's Rules of Order are lost, position descriptions, job descriptions, nepotism is high in a small town. And just recently, we had a very extreme issue in a small town. When you say we found $750,000, that's a lot of money. My question, and the reason why I'm running for mayor, is I need to understand how it was even lost. So I am seasoned, well-trained, and I'm not a politician.
Wait, hold it. I gotta stop you. I usually stop people when they say that, because I'm gonna tell you something. Would you go to a dentist who says that they're not a dentist? I need my politicians to claim it. Claim it. You may not have been elected before, but you are definitely a politician. All right, I'm done. Go back to your story.
God love you. Yes, Dana. I don't see myself as a politician in what we would think of as what we see in Washington, D.C. right now.
There you go.
Now, John Lewis, I claim that. It would be an honor to be in the same levels as John. It would be an honor to be in the same levels as Senator Ben Cardin or Senator Chris Van Hollen. These are people who I worked with in Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
and I have the utmost respect for them. But in a small town where government and politics is ground level, it's grassroots, I wear cowboy boots every day.
Me too. Not every day,
hell
but I got 7 pair. I got 7 pair.
of them. And when you're at that level, then people need to know that you can serve them.
Yeah.
I can't serve you without feeling it's disrespectful to me. Because when I was a child here, I don't feel like I was served in the same way. I felt there was a disparate treatment. And unfortunately, since our president prior to our current president, there has been a problem and a disconnect with disparate treatment again. But we're better than that. We're not going to let that define and determine who we are.
I love it. Both of you have a solid military background, and thank you for your service, because I'm a chicken. I was never going to do it. Like, you had me at crawling through the mud. What? No, I'm done. And so I thank y'all for doing what I sure as heck couldn't do. But what about your military training do you think prepares you to be in the executive level? And I don't care whoever wants to start first. I mean, there's got to be something there. Talk about it.
I tell you, Nate, go for it.
Okay, y'all.
You're gonna. Well, thank you, Nate, and thank you for your service. I would tell you, it was standing in fear. It was standing in the face of fear. I was the only girl in my family, in my immediate family, and so I was spoiled. And in basic training, no one had ever talked to me like that before in my natural life. And I was ready to go. I was ready to come back home. I didn't have to be there. And so I learned to find who I was within me. And that's what the military did. It told me, you are not second rate. You are not a second-class citizen. You are strong. You are the brightest of the bright, the best of the best. Isn't that what they tell us, Nate? And I came out a hero and a champion. And I wasn't the person that I was indoctrinated to be growing up. I was a fighting warrior, and I could fight for everybody. And that's what the Army teaches you. It teaches you discipline. It taught me that I was only challenged by what I felt within my heart and my spirit that I could do. And once I knew that it was all within me, oh, that was it.
Sky was the limit.
Sky was the limit.
Nate?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they start you off with these obstacle courses, right? I mean, not only is it you're testing your inner self and your own capabilities, but it's also about team building. And regardless of where you're from, you are thrown into this melting pot of a basic training unit. And these folks, like they called them battle buddies back then. I can't remember what they call them now, warrior companions, or I don't know. But anyways, but it's different. It's different. But my guy was from the Bronx. He was my bunkmate. And so having that culture clash was beautiful in its sense. We had a guy from Italy that his dad served over in Italy. Has met his mom over there and stuff, and went from there. So. Dogs are
That's
not
all
happy,
right. Dogs are okay. They happen.
So, yes, I would agree. Discipline, the honor, the work ethic, the problem-solving skills that it forces upon you. So they give you doctrine. They say, hey, this is what we have to do, right? This is the doctrine. This is the standing operating procedure. But when this doesn't work, it is okay to throw it to the side and be creative. As long as you meet your objective, it doesn't matter how you get there.
Okay.
And that's one of the ways it teaches you to kind of think outside the box, to be creative, to tap into that coming togetherness, that teamwork atmosphere to basically, accomplish that objective or that mission, that job, whatever you got going on. So, being the executive of a city, it's going to take you being a very dynamic leader, because you're dealing with folks from all different walks of life, different backgrounds, and that's very important to have that leadership skill set to bring folks together and to do good work on behalf of the city and behalf of the people.
Man, I am feeling so good about you too. Guys, if you are liking what these wonderful candidates are talking about, I have included their Act Blue donate links. So consider donating to their campaigns. $5, $10, $15. Every little bit goes a long way. I mean, these are already solid leaders. You hear the commitment to community and service that these two are talking about. So please donate to Stephanie Graf for Mayor Peru and Nate Anderson, Mayor of Greenfield. Donate to their campaigns and help them out. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into your campaign. Nate, tell the people the 3 reasons that you highlight the most as to why you are running for mayor of Greenfield.
Yeah, okay. Look, I was not impressed. This is the city where Marco and I will eventually raise our kids. And as I looked at our political landscape, I just wasn't impressed. I knew we could do better. And trying to navigate even our website, the city's website is 20 years outdated. It's, based on 3 columns. You could tell that we're not necessarily embracing the technology we need to. And so that's like, well, looking around, I just was like, well, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. Who's actually running? I kind of took a look. I heard that our current mayor is retiring. I'm like, okay, well, it kind of helps even the playing field a little bit. There's no incumbent there. I looked at the other Republican primary candidates at the time. Again, wasn't necessarily impressed with their standings or lack of standings or lack of policies. So I was like, well, if I can't sit around and just keep on griping about things, with a cocktail, with my buddies around a table at its, establishment, it's time to stop talking about it. It's time to be about it. If not me, then who?
That's it.
And so it's just one of those things out of pure frustration and knowing that I do have the skill sets needed to lead the city. I definitely have the capability. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? Let's pull the trigger on this. And so I was able to sit down with the chair out here in Hancock County. We had a good conversation. She even bought me coffee.
I love it.
And so we kind of got the ball rolling there. And here's what was really beautiful about this. And maybe at one moment I subconsciously I surrounded myself by just amazing people. But in 10 days I had a full camp.
Wow.
And I had people volunteered to do marketing, that volunteered to do the social medias to help me out with that. My husband put together my website. And so it was purely amazing. And then now we have a slew of volunteers that help out. And my Marco and my mom, they're my biggest cheerleaders. I'm super blessed to have them and all the other volunteers. But it's because we believe in a better future. And it's not just here, but this is where we start. We start local. Yeah. Local is what impacts our day-to-day lives. It affects education. It affects our opportunities for the future. So,
but what are the 3 issues? Like, there's always every campaign has like 3 issues. Hit them. 3. Yeah. Usually most people have more. But
we are fixing to grow by 14,000 folks.
Okay.
The next. Okay. So we have incredible growth. When I was a kid, Indianapolis was booming, southeast side where I grew up. And I remember having to have school in some of these trailers, they call them learning pods, and the student-teacher ratio was just and I kind of felt like I might have a learning disability or something. I felt dumb. I had very low self-esteem when it comes to my education. And it wasn't until me going to the military realizing I got this. And then I went to college and I was like, I totally have this. What happened? Well, it was the student-teacher ratio. I wasn't getting the help. So I foresee that happening here. And so one of the things I want to work with, make sure as we grow responsibly, but we have that partnership with the school, making sure that, our kiddos have the education they have and the school district have the resources and really build that positive relationship. So there's that. Rebranding downtown, that's another thing we want to accomplish because let's just face it, people want walkability, they want accessibility. And if we want to keep on bringing those mom and pop shops in, which is usually the foundation of a small community like ours of 24,000, well, they want to have a place to go and they want it to be cute and have curb appeal and all these things. So that's one thing we want to work on too. And then finally, unfortunately, Elanco is moving out. Elanco is a multi-billion-dollar company that that is the biggest company that Greenfield has.
Mm.
They are, due to tax abatements and a deal that was struck with Indianapolis and the state, they are moving to Indianapolis. So that is a huge revenue stream that the city's losing.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I understand. So we need to make sure we can do some infilling.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very unique. It's a very unique lab oriented medical plant. So it's a very unique type of setting that it's going to require a unique industry to come take it over. Supposedly, the state said they promised somebody to take it over. They'll find a company to infill, but that has yet to be decided or broadcasted.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no enforcement action to those things, so it's just a promise. So those are the top three things that we're focusing on.
Okay. Okay. And Ms. Stephanie, what 3 issues are you focusing on in Peru?
My priorities as mayor, the first has to be affordable housing. We are very poor when it comes to housing here.
Mm.
That's going to be our first thing. We've got to figure out a way to make it that people can live here. We recently, the current administration supported the building of a number of apartments. We are a tier 3 community. We are very, we could do better with doing for our people, and a 2-bedroom apartment that rents for $1,300 or $1,400 is not cost effective. It's not even something we can actually look at in a community that has a livable wage that is much lower than that. The second thing is public safety. Public safety, we must increase our blue line here. We've got to, we are short of police officers in small towns. The rate of pay is lower than some of your bigger cities. And if you're a new officer and you're looking at family and all the things that we hope to have in the American dream, we're not your first thought for longevity. And so what we have to do is we have to look at making it more advantageous for our law enforcement and fire department staff to feel that this is a good choice for them for the long term. And public safety also, there is a lot of international and foreign purchase of properties and buildings and small communities, land. And with that, we're seeing kind of like what we saw with China and Wisconsin, I believe it is, maybe Michigan as well. We're seeing that in Indiana, and we're seeing it here locally. And when you bring people in who are not from small towns, everybody loves to look at building and growing. But when people move from one place to another, just like when I was stationed in Germany, I took my American values and my American ways of doing things when I went to Germany. That's the same thing if someone moves from an urban area and maybe is wanting to bring something that is not appropriate.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't quite fit.
It doesn't fit. And so it's okay to be different. It's not okay to be illegal. And, you know, we have a lot of young people and people that are coming to the community, you know, that talk about having the good. You know, well, I need law enforcement officers who can handle the jail, because we just can't do that. Quality of life for children. I love our schools here, and I love the families here. I love church on Sunday, and there is a right to have that type of life. And it's okay if, that's not the life you choose for yourself. But we sit at two major highways, US 24 and US 31. And we are a pathway for a lot of things that I don't want to see in our community. So public safety. And finally, the last thing is jobs with a livable wage. In small towns, we do a lot to protect the small town employer. But I feel like for the last 30 years, looking at the communities that are around us who have grown and they have elevated, we haven't. And what we have done is, I was involved in the $15 minimum in Washington, D.C. Here, we still have employers that are holding tightly to that $7.25.
Wow.
And they don't want any other employers to come in here. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. So we've got manufacturing opportunities here. When I was in Washington, I was involved, one of the states that I represented, for grants. We got to see how when you take people who are manufacturing and actually teach them robotics, and they go from making $14 an hour, which was big wages, to now making $25 an hour, because we've taught them this, then that's where I want to take Peru to. I want jobs with a livable wage. I have been to the high school. I talked to our kids here, and I got to give a shout out to my kids, because some of them said they were going to be watching this tonight. And I just want them to know, I heard you. I don't think you're lazy. I do think that you are not heard. One of the kids said that TV has been his babysitter since he was 8 years old. And when they feel like we are not talking to them, when we're not listening to them, they told me to tell you that the kids that you see tearing up stuff and breaking down the community is not all of them.
Of course not.
And they want a chance. And in my administration, I want to give them a chance.
I think you guys are hitting on some really important things in your communities, and I want to come back to something that you both are talking about collectively in your towns, and that is livable wages and job opportunities. Nate, you talked about a major company leaving. So, I mean, Indianapolis is happening. I'm sorry and I really feel bad, but at the same time, I'm like, it's Indianapolis. But you're talking about bringing in those opportunities, and Stephanie, you're talking about retooling people for the next wave of things. Nate, you talked about technology and people understanding technology. How will you in your administration, because you can't do it all, right? But you can assign people to do things. You can delegate, right? How will you delegate to making sure that the right technology is getting into the right hands to retool your citizens for the next opportunities for those livable wage jobs that are coming down the street?
I think you have to have a really good holistic approach to that. I mean, the person that's going to be in charge of this is going to be somebody who's young and understands or has that background, whether it's the educational background or the actual physical working background. There's so many employers that ding folks, for example, not having that education piece, and they kind of negate or overlook the work experience. But I have worked with so many soldiers and officers that have no college, but they have all this work experience. And they are incredibly intelligent. And so, we're going to have to put feelers out there, and we're going to have to bring the community in. And that's what I want. That's what I want to do, and see what the best practices is. Now, the beautiful thing about being in this position, and our population out here is about just shy of 25,000 folks, is that we don't have to recreate the wheel. Right? Like, communities across this state and communities across this country are already killing it. And so reaching out to those folks and saying, hey, what's working? How do you all do that? And tailoring something that they've already kind of started to fit our demographics here, to fit our society here, is completely doable. We don't have to just be inventors 24/7 out here.
I like that. Mayor Stephanie, I mean, I'm claiming it for you already. I'm sorry. It is.
Let's go.
It is,
Yeah.
and there's two black women named Stephanie running for mayor in the state of Indiana.
Yes.
So I'm feeling all that. Both of them gonna be mayors. Go right ahead.
Yes. One of the things that just keeps sticking with me is I am proof positive that you don't have to have a 4-year degree.
Okay.
I'm proof positive. I went into the Army. I'm proud to be a veteran of the United States Army. But also, when I walk in and I talk to these kids and I tell them, I made 6 digits without a college education. There is a way to do it. And that's what I'm going to take into the mayor's office. First thing we're going to do is we've got to go ahead and look at where we can get these kids and these young adults and these individuals who have to go into retraining because manufacturing has changed into the Ivy Techs and the IUKs, the trade schools. I am union through my bones. I was born to union people. I have walked picket lines. I'm not saying anything about right now, but you're not crossing picket lines. And I am very much a diehard believer that we need to get people excited about the trades again.
Right.
We need to get them excited about, I've got 2 individuals here. One is licensed and trained to do plumbing here. The other one does, what is that? Heating and air conditioning, HVAC.
Yeah.
He has nobody to leave his businesses to.
Wow.
Both of these gentlemen, show these young people, show these individuals that need to be retrained, give them an opportunity. I mean, we have.
So will you like put like an office in place, or will you have like somebody that's going to lead that program for you?
Yes, there are 2 offices that I want to do. I would like to have someone who deals with workforce development. It's one thing to say you have an economic development advisory board, but if you don't have somebody who understands the needs and the transitions in your workforce development component, then your grants are very one-sided, and you're not getting everything you need in order to develop and elevate these people. The other person that I want to put in there is a minority and women's and small business advisor. We don't have one of those, and I don't think we understand where we are missing the mark with that. So we need somebody who can help small businesses. Small businesses shouldn't just keep people at $5 plus tips or $7.25. What they need to be saying is, right now, my people can only make $7.25. This is what I can pay them. Show me how in 5 years I can get those people up to where they deserve to be.
Right, because they love their employees. They want to keep their employees. I love that. I love that vision. See, and that's what we want. We want people in those leadership roles that have that vision. And you both admitted it, and like you're like, I don't have to know everything. I just know I got to find the right people and put them in the right spots. And I just wanted to speak to that because, you know, we see what's happening, right? We see if we don't, we had the clown talking 4 years ago about what I can, or whatever, 7, 8 years ago. I can save the jobs in Indianapolis. They won't close down. Well, the business is going to do what they're going to do. And they have every right to do it. I think our role in government and as government leaders are to, okay, now that the business left, how do we take care of the people? And one of the things that we got to do, regardless of the age of the individual, is retool them. And honestly, like, young people still have like their whole life ahead of them. I'm always worried about that 54-year-old, that 55-year-old that has to get retooled. So, because they still got another 10, 15 years of work. And, you know, ageism is real. Right. So, and as long as we have that vision, as technology changes, as industries change, I'm hoping that all people are asking mayors to be, how do we retool? What will you do to make sure people are ready for the next thing? Even if the carpet is ripped out from under them, what is your plan to make sure that people have what they need? And I appreciate both of you guys speaking to that. Man, can y'all believe? Our hour is up already. Like, it went by so fast because I tell you what, the both of you are very, very interesting people, and you both have engaging energies that just suck people in. And I could have just shut up and listened to y'all both talk all night. So I want to thank you for spending time with us. But Nate, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can take a look at our website, nate4mayor.com. That's the number 4. So Nate, number 4mayor.com. That's the website. I'm on all the socials except for Snapchat. So, but all the links are there.
And do you have any events coming up?
We actually are doing a virtual phone banking. First go is going to be this October 1st. So Sunday, we're getting together. More details will follow on that. We're going to probably be at the library to set that up. Get a room back there. But yeah, that's it. And then, of course, we have the Riley Days are coming up. That's going to be the first full weekend of October. There's going to be a parade on Saturday, which is, what is that, the 6th?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so the 6th, the 6th, 7th, I'm sorry.
7th.
Saturday. Yeah, so we have the Riley Days Festival, which is huge. It's a 4-day event right
Huge.
down here. Yeah, we shut down State Road 9 and 40, which is Main Street and State Street here in Greenfield. And it's a pretty cool time. So
I love
swing
it.
on by. We'll be at the booth every single day, talking to folks, and I hope you all can make it.
You know, I have to be honest. Like, I know everybody knows I live in Marion County, so that's home base, and it's gonna always be number 1. And the folks down in Monroe County, they think they got number 2. And that's like because my girl lived there. So I'm going to let them think that. But when I ran for office, Hancock County showed up and showed out for me way back in 2016. And that's why whenever you see me in Hancock, it's because they said, Dana, can you? And I say, yeah, when you need me there. I love the work that you guys are doing over in Hancock County. You guys always have Indiana's own support. I probably won't be able to phone back with you because I got some digital content that I'm creating, but I'm so proud that you're running in one of my favorite counties. I love the people over in Hancock County, and go help him out, phone bank, y'all. All right, Miss Stephanie, tell the people where they can find you.
Yes, Dana, I am October the 5th. I will be at the Peru High School auditorium at 6:00. We will be doing a mayor's debate.
Oh.
I extend an invitation to you, Dana, if you're driving down 31 and you feel like stopping in.
What is the date again?
October the 5th.
Dang it, I will not be here. I will be in St. Louis.
Okay.
I got to go for work.
If the plans change, you're always welcome.
I appreciate it.
We will be having that evening. We've got some other things planned, but please go to my website, perumayor.com. Yes, I took the name. So perumayor.com.
But I can't believe it was available.
I couldn't either. I was like, well, we are going to take this.
Honey.
So,
This like when Indiana's Own was available, I was like, nobody's got indianasown.com. I'll just snatch that up.
And we're on Facebook at Stephanie Graf for Mayor. And the people in Peru, small town, they see where my office is. Stop in anytime and let's chat, because I am truly the people's mayor.
I love it. Y'all guys, I'm telling y'all, my heart is full tonight talking to two of you. Two mayors running in small towns, but important towns where people need real leadership. And I'm going to give a shout out to Mayor Gabe. He's stepping down up in Peru. I met him through my partner, and I've been to Peru a couple of times, but just, you know, he has been so insightful in what it is to be Democrats in small towns for me, because, you know, I'm big town, right? Or, you know, I can go in with all the extra liberal stuff. He was like, nah, Dana, everybody looking for the next boogeyman. We're not trying to give him any more boogeymen. And like, he really made me see small town Democrats very differently. And that's why I really appreciate Gabe. So Gabe, Mayor Gabe, thank you for your service. I was worried when you said you were stepping down, but you know, Stephanie right there ready to take over. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. There will not be a show next week. Sorry. But I'm already in talks with the guests that I had scheduled so that we can do a pre-recorded show for them, because I want you to hear from these candidates. I'll get those out like I did with my girl, Miss Mitchell, who's running, so you guys can still hear from these candidates. So there will not be a show next week, and then there's probably not one the following week either, but I have to check my calendar. I tell you what, I hate canceling these shows. That's why I'm trying to ask y'all what day. I'm thinking like a Tuesday, like maybe Tuesday night. And I'm going to do Monday because that's football. Not going to lie to y'all. I like football too. And so I don't think Tuesday seems like a kind of a bland night, nothing going on. So, except election night. Then we could do big election night shows. Okay, see, I'm already thinking it's going to be Tuesday. I done made up my mind. So just tune in, guys. Indiana's own Dana Black, Turn Left. We are always going to bring you the candidates, the issues that matter. Vote, support these candidates. Donate to Stephanie Graf and Nate Anderson so they can win these elections. They need to buy yard signs. They need to buy water for their volunteers. They got to pay for the phone bank links and all the things, right? Help these candidates out. $5 is all it takes. Click on their links. I will have them on the recording. And just, I love y'all paying attention and sticking around for longer than an hour. But I will holler at y'all next time. Peace.
Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.